says, questions that invite the students to share their thoughts and opinions. Jim says effective would be the teacher asking students about their character, blocking the text, etc. Highly effective is seen as students doing this for each other. Interesting. Brian says asking questions to help actors understand their character goals, actions, and potential tactics. And Allie added guide the students to make their own choices. These are all great. All right, it is 10:05. Dale, should we get started?
Yeah, sounds great. So, hi, I'm Dale. I am the theater teacher at Urban Assembly School for the Performing Arts in Harlem, and I am working with Naomi. And we're really looking at how you can use effective questioning so that you get investment by the people who are in your scene. This is a great technique that I actually picked up when I was attending Columbia. I was in a collaboration class with Anne Bogart. And while I'm not the kind of person that buys into all of the viewpoint stuff, I know some people very much that's their thing. It's not really mine. But to watch her work with a director, with actors on stage, and ask questions that truly allowed for their input and wasn't dictatorial was really masterful. And seeing the transformation of these actors in a short 15-minute demonstration was a really, really amazing thing to see. One nice thing about today, and we are going to divide up later into two groups. I teach high school. Naomi does elementary and middle. So we're going to talk about how this can apply to your different levels, because obviously what I'm asking of my high schoolers is not perfect for what you may be asking of your second graders, but that doesn't mean that you can't start planting the seeds that help enable them to have these conversations by the time that they get to a high school level. So that said, I have always loved one quote, which is always assume that there's a genius in the room and you're not it. I love that idea when I go into directing. So many directors come in with so many things planned and so much set out that there is no room for the smarter idea to take shape. Because one thing you notice is the more that you tell your actors, the less they want to bring to the table. Because it's not just about asking the right questions, but creating an environment where questions and ideas can be shared. So that being said, we are going to do a quick demonstration in which Naomi is going to demonstrate some directing techniques with questioning. We're going to discuss it, and then I'm going to do it. And then you're all going to have a chance to break up into groups of 3 in breakout rooms and practice it yourself. So can I possibly get, and I can't see you all, can I get 2 volunteers who would be willing to be our guinea pigs? All right, I got Hagen.
And Erin, I see.
Great. So
Brian,
if
have a chance next round, we're going to do another round too. So don't stress. You can go next round.
Yes. So if the 2 of you could come off mute, and if everybody else, just so that we can make sure we're focused on our actors, if everybody else could just go off camera so that we just see the 2 actors and Naomi while doing this, and let me share your scene.
I'm wondering also if I can pin our actor, or if I can spotlight our actors rather. Perhaps not.
Okay. I am sorry. I am trying to share this, and I have my Zoom bar at the top, and it's keeping me from getting to what I need to get to. Of course it is.
Kate, is it possible to spotlight Aaron and Hagen? Oh, I think you've done it. Beautiful. Thank you. So Hagen and Aaron, while Dale is pulling this up, I'm going to be directing you. We're going to start just by reading through. Beautiful. We're going to start just by reading through the scene one time. Just reading it. While Dale is pulling it up, there's an A and a B. Do you have a preference of who is A and who is B? Okay, I'll assign it. Aaron, since you're on top of my screen, you'll be A, and Hagen, you'll be B.
All right, and you can see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Whenever you're ready, just a read through.
Hi.
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
You know what time it is?
No, you?
Nope.
Don't you have a watch?
Not on me.
Well,
Well,
what did you do last night?
what do you mean?
What did you do last night?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Said nothing.
Sorry, I asked.
Excellent. So I want to know what do you think is going on in this scene? Are you waiting for a train, or maybe you're riding the elevator? What's going on in this scene?
I feel like I know what she did last night, but I want her to tell me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm happy and she's already mad at me. And I'm trying to think of where I like the elevator idea. I also feel like just coming home also feels like a thing.
Let's go with the elevator idea.
Okay.
And let's try it again. And let's decide, let's let our audience know that we're on an elevator. How do we do that? Go again.
Hi.
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
Do you know what time it is?
No. You?
Nope.
Don't you have a watch?
Not on me.
Well,
Well, what?
what did you do last night?
What do you mean?
What'd you do last night?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I said nothing.
Sorry, I asked.
Okay, how did that feel?
Good. I started thinking about my physicality more when you asked us how we could show the elevator. I was suddenly way more aware of that dimension.
I could see that, and I could see that you really use the entire space. Excellent job, Hagen. Dale, will you scroll to the bottom, please? Aaron, when you say the line, you say the line, what did you do what do you mean, right?
Yes.
Can you say it more like, what do you mean?
Got it.
Can you emphasize the you in that sentence?
Yep.
And let's see what that does. Dale, will you scroll to the top? Let's try it again.
Hi.
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
Do you know what time it is?
No. You?
Nope.
Don't you have a watch?
Not on me.
Well,
Well,
what did you do last night?
you mean?
What did you do last night?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Said nothing.
Sorry, I asked.
Okay. Aaron, how did that feel for you?
It felt different. It felt good. I'm trying to do like we're in the elevator looking forward, which is difficult on Zoom because then I don't. But yeah, I liked the you. It felt more like accusatory, like finally going from like happy to like, what are you trying to get at something?
Do you know each other?
I think so.
I think so.
Because the don't you have a watch makes me feel like I would usually have one, and she knows that.
Do you like each other?
I feel like we normally do, but that my character is upset with her character.
And that's why I'm like, why are you upset with me?
Yeah.
Because the hi with the exclamation point makes me feel like we're friends. And the
All
hello-
right, and Naomi, that is time.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, if we can get people come back on camera. Naomi did several things right in that, but also purposefully. She did several things wrong. What did you notice that she did wrong? There were moments I cringed. It was fantastic.
I
I
really
was like, she got the assignment. Anybody can just speak out.
She gave them the elevator idea and was like, we're going to go with that. Like there was no brainstorming amongst the two actors and the director of what else it could possibly be.
Mhm.
That made me cringe a little.
Yep.
She gave a line reading too.
Yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense and made for a really inauthentic performance on that particular line. I was like, oh, poor Aaron.
I tried.
thank you for going
No,
with it.
you rolled with it. You get like student of the day, but it was uncomfortable watching that. Other things that she did. I noticed that she treated them very unequally. Hagen was given a lot of room and questioned more deeply and given an opportunity to really look at what she was bringing to it. And Aaron was given answers. And once in a while, when a question was asked, it felt like maybe Naomi already knew the answer she wanted. So instead of being a discussion, it was a test, which does not lead anyone to be in a like sharing, thoughtful, collaborative mood when they obviously feel like, oh, this has been decided and maybe I get it wrong. If you feel like you're going to get it wrong, you don't want to talk. So what that does is it shuts down suggestion significantly. And I noticed slightly, and it would have obviously amplified over like 20 minutes, but Hagen continued to share ideas and be like expressive of what she was going through, and Aaron got quieter because she wasn't really given the opportunity to do it. So thank you for walking into that blind, Aaron, and letting us mistreat you. I hope it was as fun for you as it was for us. All right, so we're gonna do again a second one, and we had one person who had already volunteered. Who was that? To do the second one?
Yes, it was, who was it? Brian, was it you? Is it no longer good?
Yeah.
We need, great, and I need a second volunteer, please. Great. And everybody else, so that was, sorry, I'm looking for your name. I saw a hand.
Lauren.
Yes, great. So if we can reshare.
Yep.
And everybody else can go off camera and be on silence. And Naomi, if you can just watch generally to give me 4 minutes.
Yep.
Great. So if we can just start, do either of you care who's A or B?
No.
All right, why don't we say Brian is A and go ahead and start.
Well,
How are you?
I'm not all that well, really.
Why? What's the matter?
The usual things. How are you?
I'm fine.
Been a long time.
Yes, I thought of you the other day.
Why?
It's nice sometimes to think back, isn't it?
Absolutely. How's everything?
Not bad. Do you know how long it's been since we met?
Uh,
2 years.
long time.
All right. So when I look at this, I do see the line, do you know how long it's been since we met? 2 years. So that tells me we do have a pre-existing relationship between these characters. What do we think that might be?
Feels like
Maybe
The biggest thing to remember is you can't be wrong.
maybe they like had a previous like dated or had a relationship previously.
Okay, so they had a relationship. So where are they?
Maybe like a party, like a friend's party or something. They haven't seen each other in a while.
Okay, so are we saying this is not a planned meeting?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
accident.
they accidentally ran into each other 2 years after breaking up. How was that breakup?
Not good.
Not good. It seems not good.
Not
Yeah.
good. Not good breakup. Maybe ugly.
Okay. And how does A feel? Well, let's take a step back from there. In that breakup, who do you think did the breaking up? Again, you can't be wrong. We're just making decisions.
I think I did.
Him. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So how does A feel about B now?
I'm like too cool for it. Or like
Okay.
my character's like not into it in a way that it was 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Okay. And how does B feel about A now?
I think they like realize they kind of like maybe still have feelings and are trying to get them to like look back and remember how happy it was.
Okay. Cool. So now we're starting to get to an objective. When I think of objective, I actually really like the David Mamet of taking it one step further and saying, what do you want for him to do? And I think what I just heard you say is you want for him to reconnect with you.
Yeah.
So as we read it this time, think physically how that might impact any of your body language if that's your objective. And what do we think A wants for B to do?
I don't know. I feel like I want to avoid it. I want to keep my conversation moving and
Okay.
get out of this awkward moment.
Okay.
Maybe.
So then let me ask you one more question. Why did you talk to her in the first place?
I don't think I did. I think maybe I just saw her and I was like, where we saw each other, and it was like a moment because I said, well, and well was to me like, well, looks like we got to talk to each other. Looks like we've bumped into each other after 2 years or after the breakup.
Yeah.
Now looks like we're standing in front of each other and we should acknowledge it to some degree.
Great. Great. So if that is your overall feeling in this moment, also think about how that might reflect in you physically. How that might impact body language. So if we can read that one more time.
Well,
How are you?
I'm not all that well, really.
Why? What's the matter?
The usual things. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I thought of you the other day.
Why?
It's nice sometimes to think back, isn't it?
Absolutely. How's everything?
Uh, Not bad. Do you know how long it's been since we met?
Um,
2 years.
Can we scroll up, please,
long
Naomi?
time.
I want to do it one more
Scroll up?
time. I'm sorry?
You wanted me to scroll up?
Now, yeah, I wasn't seeing you scroll down. I couldn't see long time.
Oh,
Anyway,
got it.
I want to do it one more time. And considering, Brian, everything you said to me about how you feel about her, when she says, I thought of you the other day, I want you to think how that can impact Fly. Like, let it go wherever you want it to go. But I think that there's some potential there that could reveal a lot in just that one word. Was there anything that came up in that we feel like we need to readdress any of the conversation from before? Was that working? Did it feel natural? Was it helping to guide you? Is there anything that's unclear?
No, I think it was definitely informing me a lot, especially in my like active listening and reactions to him. Do you know how long it's been since we met? Like kind of made a lot more sense to me this time because I had like an active objective.
Great. Can we read that one more time?
We're going to read through it one more time, and we're actually a little over time.
Great.
Well,
How are you?
I'm not all that well, really.
Why? What's the matter?
The usual things. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I thought of you the other day.
Why?
It's nice sometimes to think back, isn't it?
Absolutely. How's everything?
Not bad. Do you know how long it's been since we met?
Um,
2 years.
long time.
All right, we are at time, but what I do want to reflect there really quickly is I felt that there was actually a shift in A and that we found like a bit of a character journey for him. So I want to thank you both for volunteering to do that. I know that's not the most comfortable situation. And Naomi, if you want to talk about
So folks can turn their cameras back on. And as Dale was starting the scene, I asked you all to kind of piece out some questions that Dale was asking. But I also I want to ask, what are some of the techniques that you saw him use or things that you heard him go back to? And I want to start actually with Lauren and Brian. How did that feel for you as actors in this scene? And what worked for you, and where are moments that you feel like his questioning allowed you to make some discoveries? So let's start with Lauren and Brian, and then we'll open it up. You can just unmute.
Yeah, I thought the direction was like really helpful. I like that it kind of transitioned into objectives and that like made it clear for me. And I liked the way that you kind of let us figure out what the scenario was at the beginning and let us kind of brainstorm at the beginning. And I thought it was like very like open and collaborative and relaxed.
Yeah, that was like really supportive. And it was just like you took everything and you made it work. And it felt like in a minute, like in the beginning, there was a moment where you're like, I don't know if that's exactly what I want, but we're definitely going to go with it, and we're going to take it, and we're going to see where things go. And you used all of our stuff, and nothing was wrong, and everything was like good, and you made it work like that. And that's something that like I was listening to you and thinking to myself, damn, I need to do more of that, like when I'm directing, and just like incorporate more of like just nothing got shut down, everything was let go, and we were able to like discover things like in a cool and positive way.
Great, so I'm gonna open it up. I'm seeing some people throw things in the chat. Thank you, Lauren and Brian. I'm gonna take from Brian, what is something that you'd like to incorporate more or that you already do and you want to lift up? I'm saying that Hagen wrote, I think what I heard you say was, can you say more about that and why that jumped out to you?
Sure. I hadn't thought of doing that before when I do this with my students, but I felt like there was a moment where one of the actors, I forget who, like said something, and then Dale like rephrased it, almost like asking, like clarifying, but without like giving the direction, just kind of like put out there, I think what I heard you say was, and then he like made the thing that they said sound like, I don't know, clearer for the scene. And so it was a way of moving the scene forward and clarifying without telling, which felt masterful.
Also a way for the director to check in and
to make sure, and also to make sure that he understood what they were saying correctly rather than assuming. It's another part of it.
And I think again brings that safety that Brian was talking about, that support. I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you, am I hearing you right?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Bronwyn, can you share your thoughts? I see you wrote a few.
Yeah, I was trying to count the amount of times he said how, and then I lost it. I think I had it at like 5, and I really liked the how because it's more active than why. So I really enjoyed that. And then I just jotted down, like, you can't be wrong, just we're making decisions. It was like supportive, and like just hearing sometimes like you can't be wrong, like just give it a try is so great. And I'm sure we all do it, but I just liked how it was phrased. Oh, and then like, let me ask you one more question, was like, just like adding on to, I forgot what the instance was. Sorry, blanked, but I liked it.
And Dale, if you want to jump in at any point and any intentional decisions that you made or things that you often try to do when you're directing, feel free.
So what I will say I couldn't really do here because we're on Zoom. I did take it into their physicality and how it might impact their bodies. What I would always do before we started is I would come in with a set ground plan with multiple places for them to go. I don't make that a collaborative process in the moment. I do come in with, perhaps before I've worked with students to design, but once we start this process, there is a space with places to go. And so the questions are less, how does that impact your body? And more, does that make you want to move? Or how might that impact when you move? Or also just saying, as they do this, if you feel like you'd move, do that. Then obviously, as you move on, you start clearing that up. And you say things like, I completely get your impetus to do that, but now we only see your back. So can we try to move somewhere else? So you are still directing, but giving opportunities for it to also become physicality and blocking. What we're going to do now is we are going to break everyone into breakout rooms. And we are going to share with you those open scenes, and there is open scene 1, 2, and 3. You're going to be in breakout rooms of 3 people. So each person pick either scene 1, 2, or 3. And you're just going to go for about 4 minutes of practicing this questioning technique with your partners. And then you're going to provide each other honest feedback. Keep in mind that if the feedback's not honest, then no one's growing. And some people are very good at this and very used to this, and some people haven't really tried this before. So providing feedback of what might be helpful will definitely help everybody to improve in these techniques. So we're going to, and right now, direct each other. Don't think about it of, oh, if I was working with my 4th grade, just direct the other 2 adults in the room. So we're going to let everybody break out. We'll probably pop into your breakout room or many of the breakout rooms here and there. But yeah, we're going to definitely send chats in to let you know when time is up to change, but just decide who's doing scene 1, 2, and 3. Let me get you that link right now.
And we'll also give you we'll give you a 3 minutes or 1 minute left, and then 4 minutes, and then you'll rotate. Each person should get a chance to direct.
Yes, you definitely want that. If we have an uneven, or like, if our room count is not divisible by 3, that does mean there may be a room or two with 4, and you may do with that as you wish. If someone doesn't want to direct, they don't have to, but they should definitely still be one of the people directed just to experience it.
All right.
All
this
right, I
is
just
Kate.
put a link to a Google Doc in the chat. If everybody could open that up, that will get you to scenes 1 through 5. But you're focusing on 1, 2, or 3. Each person is directing something different so that nobody walks in with preconceived notions.
I'm also
And-
dropping in some of the questions that Dale asked. If you need something to pull from, if this is maybe the first time you're doing this or you haven't done this in a while, I'm dropping in some of those questions word for word so that you have them to pull from them. Sorry, Dale, I cut you off.
No problem. But yeah, Kate, we're ready to let everybody go to those breakout rooms.
All right, so we'll open them up. Everyone should receive a pop-up window if
Are there any
and be
questions
assigned.
before we go into those breakout rooms? Vicky, I see your mouth moving and you unmuted, but I do not hear you. Oh no. She says, do we know what scene we're doing in each room? You can decide scene 1, 2, or 3. Dale and I just did 4 and 5. So don't do 4 and 5, but you can do any one on this list, 1, 2, or 3.
Right. There
And
will
if
be
you
3 of you. There will be 3 of you in there. So one of you does scene 1, one of you 2, one of you 3. And yeah, you just take your like each of you directs for about 4 minutes, and then we'll send something in. Sorry if we break you off in the middle of a creative moment, but it's more about process than product.
Any other questions?
Sorry, my very old cat is yowling.
Tennessee, hi Tennessee.
Yes, that is my cat, Tennessee. He's 20.
All right, I think we are good. If you have any questions aside from this, we'll pop out. Dale and I will pop in and out of the rooms. Thanks, Kate.
All right, so all of you should be going into rooms of 3 now.
Dale, I'm getting a pop-up for room.
Happens on Zoom. As always happens on Zoom. Things all took longer than anticipated. So if you had any really good takeaways from that, like just moments that stuck out to you, anything like that that was particularly successful, can you just pop that into the chat? And I'm going to turn it over to Naomi because we only have about 4 minutes left to maybe do some facilitation of the moment.
So just give me a second to get myself situated. I was just in acting mode. So let's step back and put our teacher hats on now that we've reflected kind of in our acting and directing hats. And what are some things that you heard or saw Dale or me do that you would like to apply to your classroom, or definitely not? And if you were, I'm going to add another question to that. If you were to either teach this to your students or do this with your students, what will you take away from today's session? And you can just unmute.
I'd love to respond with kind of a question to you guys or to the group. So I'm just imagining doing something like this with the whole class, and obviously you could break them into groups of 3 like we did. But I'm also wondering, like, if we're working on a full production, how do you feel about opening up the questioning to people who are not the actors? Because, like, adding on the extra step of, like, is it clear to the audience? You know, so like there's what's clear to the actors, and then there's what's communicated. And so does that like ruin it, or maybe it happens as like an add-on stage? But do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like if we've decided that they know each other, asking the audience, like, is it clear that they know each other? How can we make that clearer? Or like, does that ruin the collaboration?
Go
Um,
ahead, Tim. I have some
I
thoughts.
would definitely say this is a step in directing a show that really gets everybody invested, but this is not the totality of directing a show. So as the director, once you've set this up and once you've started to create these moments, you get to step back as the expert in the room and start having that, start making that apply to what they're doing. How can you make it clearer? What can you set up to support the decisions that they've made? So that it's not entirely related, pardon me, it's not entirely falling on them, the responsibility of creating it. It's what gets them warmed up and gets them invested in their performances, but then you're still a safety net for them that brings the professionalism to make it clearer. And that can involve props and set and costume and anything that you can bring in so that you're supporting these ideas that they initiated.
I guess what I meant more was, can I bring in other students who are not in the scene into the conversation, or does that ruin the conversation? You know, like say there's 10 people in the room and 2 of them are the actors. Can the other 6 people respond to the questions? Or
I definitely in my classroom have a policy that if I am directing someone, they need to be the one responding, because
I would agree with
it's only authentic if it's coming from them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of
make choices and make discoveries about your character when you've got so much input from others. What I would typically use something like this first, Hagen, is like for a table read and for the initial discoveries. And then once we've got it up on its feet and we've made the discoveries, we can bring it to share and say, okay, these 2 actors feel like they've known each other for a long time and they broke up and yada, yada, yada. Is that clear?
Cool.
And from the discoveries that the actors made, you're presenting that and asking for feedback.
That makes sense. So it's the same thing with a wider audience, but at a later step.
Exactly. I'm so sorry to cut off this conversation. I wish we could stay for like another half hour. I initially was like, what are we gonna do for a whole hour on Zoom? But I wish we could stay for a whole other half hour and have a conversation. But I see Kate just stuck it in the chat as well. We are heading over to grade level breakout conversations. The chat, the link is in the chat. Dale and I will stay here for a moment longer if anyone has lingering questions.